On June 10th, 2018, I ran away from home. I am a teen runaway. This is part 2. Please excuse my voice and how I look this morning. It was Pride weekend and I was out with friends celebrating, so I have no voice anymore. Part 1's video ended with Miss A picking me up and me saying bye to my dog as I was leaving the garage. Once I was picked up by Miss A, we stopped by Denny's. She was hungry, I was a little bit hungry, but also kind of anxious, so I really only had bacon. I just remember sitting in the booth at Denny's thinking that, like, my former parents were gonna just, like, walk in suddenly and be like, why'd you leave? You know, I don't know. Keep in mind, Denny's was like a good 45 minutes away from my former house, and then from Denny's, we drove another like 30 minutes away from there in a totally different direction to find a Northwest credit union bank ATM so I could withdraw my money. I didn't want to be tracked via my debit card, so I had to withdraw cash. After we withdrew my money from an ATM, we drove back to her house, which was like an hour, a completely opposite direction. Again, we made sure that nothing, just in case, was trackable. Pretty much after that, we got to her house, slept a couple of hours, and then I ended up going to church with her mom, actually. I remember it being super weird because I had gone to church that morning and then ran away that night and then stayed up pretty much, slept a few hours, and then went to church again, which is weird because it was on Sunday, not Saturday, because I grew up Seventh-day Adventist. Flash forward to June 12th, and in Georgia, where Miss B was waiting for me, she that morning got a knock at her door. I was still in Virginia with Miss A. We drove down on the 13th to Georgia. Turns out my former father was at her door. They were definitely looking for me, and he was asking her, like, where is she? Have you seen her? Has she called you? Do you know where she'll be going? Do you know where she could have gone to? Do you know who maybe she's with? The reason why he stopped at her apartment was because he was previously already on a business trip in Florida at the time, so he just drove up from Georgia and knew that she was someone we knew on the way up and stopped. Little did he know, I was arriving there the very next day. After he left, I know she called Miss A, who I was staying with, and we got woken up by the phone ringing, and she was like, yo, he was here, like, do we still do this? Like, what's our game plan? And essentially the game plan was the same since he did leave. Then on June 13th, Miss A and I drove down to Georgia. We got there in like 5 hours, which was very fast. Like and comment for part 3 because there is definitely more.